Hi, Freddy here with a week 3 update for BeyondD6, our development blog that I'm doing. Well, there's been good progress this week, as I will demonstrate in a moment, but I'll start off with a bit of an apology for the quality of last week's video. It turns out that OBS Studio that I use for recording these doesn't like running alongside lots of other software, so when I'm demonstrating BeyondD6, the database server is running, the web server is running, and the browser. There's a lot of load on the processor, and unfortunately it meant that OBS Studio was skipping sections of video just when it couldn't keep up. Usually when I clicked on something, so I was demonstrating an element, it's reaching away to the database, it thrashes the hard drive, it brings the data back, and OBS Studio would just pause for a couple of seconds. So the audio would drop out and the video would freeze. I've spent a couple hours today updating OBS Studio and my drivers and all that on my poor little workhorse machine that's sitting here. And now the encoding should be done by hardware. So fingers crossed this should work. Anyway, on with this week's one. So, BeyondD6, you've seen the login screen before, and here's the intro page. It's changed very little. We've got some descriptive text here, but that's just text editing. The create new character is exactly the same, but if we go into your characters, the parade of modifications should become visible. So the characters list now, still the same characters as last week. Now have the picture, character name, gender, species, and a little bit of description for all of them. Just so you can more easily locate your characters, and when a Games Master sees them, he'll be able to see more information about them. I'm leaving this side of the screen blank at the moment. I think that I might split it so it's your unassigned characters and your characters which are assigned to campaigns to make it easier to locate the two sides, but I'm undecided yet. I might just take the tiles and extend them all the way across, or something else. We shall see, but that's my early thoughts at the moment. Let's go into Bob the Gamorrean, formerly Bob the Human, as he started off. As we come into the character details screen, you can see I've added some extra fields. We've got gender, height, skin color, hair color, and eye color. There's also a new button here, finalize, but we shall come back to that in a bit. When you've set the gender and the species, if the database has a selection of names it can randomly generate, this button appears. So we click on generate name and it brings up Clagrach. So let's have an Tront. So we can just take his name, paste him in, and update. So Bob the Human is now Tront the Gamorrean. The species page is exactly as it was last week. There have been no modifications there at all. If we come onto the character page, we can see that Tront has spent all his starting dice. I've fixed the image over here, which was having resizing problems and going off the side of the screen, because when I'm recording video it's on a different resolution screen to the one I'm usually working on, so I hadn't noticed it before. But that is fixed. There is still some display problems. If we go down here, we'll see the mechanical and computer programming repair still don't quite work. I'll put in some Starsheet stuff to change the font on that, which should work. It'll stop it messing up. I've yet to add the headers for here as well to explain what these buttons do, but it's coming on. It all still works nicely. Improvement from last week, the force powers now exist. So when you select your force talents, skills, force skills, that's the name of them. You get 1 force power for the first dice, then 1 for each pip. So he's got 2 dice control. He gets 4. So 1 and 3 more pips make the second dice. So he's got 4 powers which are selected, but because he's still in character variation, we can mix them around. We do so. It calculates them. Let's give him a 5th one, and the system says no. It cancels it. The other big change... Oh, something I forgot to mention last week. When you click on skills, if you click on the skill name, it brings up the description and rules for that skill out of the 2nd edition revised rulebook. So you can easily click on things and see how the rules work. It does that for the force powers as well. These are straight out the rulebook, so still require formatting, but I shall come back to that. But the new tab that has appeared is equipment. You can see I've given Gront, was he? Tront, a blast vest, thermal detonators, and a vibro-axe. I've decided I don't want him to have vibro-axe. Let's give him vibro-blade instead. And we can discharge the amounts, so as he throws thermal detonators at people, or he goes into a shop and buys more, we can just click and change the amounts backwards and forwards. It's very easy. Going back to here, there was the finalize button. Now I'll not demonstrate it yet, but what finalize does is locks in the character's skill points and starting points, allowing you to take the character live. I will demonstrate with a different one. Let me just nip through. Go back to the main menu. So Kanan Jarrus is the first character, and he's been finalized. So you see some different tabs come up. Still pretty similar, but first of all, you cannot change his force sensitivity, his species, or his gender. They are now locked in, and he's given some force points. Let's randomly generate a human name, Camlaran. But these are now set. Species still the same. When you go into the character, because all his starting points have been spent, they're gone. But it shows what character points he's been given and any that's remaining to be spent. And it allows you to roll his skills. So if we click on his blaster skill, comes up here, he rolled 24. And it gives you the 6 dice that he rolled there, plus the 2 bonus he gets, for a total of 24. If we roll it another couple of times until we get a 6 on his wild die, the first dice rolled is always the wild die. It will eventually roll. It's the thing with random chance. There we go. He rolled a 6 and then a 1 when he re-rolled the wild die, getting 7 at a total for that dice. And the rest to get a total of 26. If we go down, also see his description, which was too long and was forcing things out of alignment, is now a scrollable box. So everything's still in place. On this screen, you've still got the description boxes, but you also get that for the equipment, so you can navigate everything from this screen. Allowed to choose equipment as before, and we've got the add award. It allows you to add character points to the character and change the number of force points. So we've got a list here of all the character points awarded. As you can see, a lot of testing going on. So let's give him another 12. Testing. 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 We add those. And we go back to the character. You can see he's got the 12 character points. So we'll spend 6 getting his ever-increasing blaster skill up, which takes away 6. There's not enough points to increase his blaster because it now requires 7 points to increase, 30 for his dexterity, and so forth. We've got 6 remaining, so his persuasion up by 1. We've still got 3 points, and that's dropped off that we can't increase it anymore. And we'll take his brawling up. And now all those drop out. And roll his 7 dice skill. All his skills there. But that's how a finalized character works. You can still edit the name, some of the details, so if your character dyes his hair or whatever in the course of adventures, you can change details. Now, if we go back for one final thing. Let's take Billy Bob and let's finalize him. So Billy Bob the Rhodian, everything needs to be set. Is set. We hit finalize. It will bring us up a page. Publishing your character simply completes character creation. You will no longer be able to edit your species, starting points, starting skills, gender, or force sensitivity. However, your character will now be able to receive character points and force points, spending them to increase abilities and skills. You'll still be able to edit your character description and the like. This is irreversible, so if you're unsure, go back and check you've spent your starting and skill points. And everything is as you desire before clicking yes below to complete this. We click yes, because we are sure that Billy Bob's finished. And now Billy Bob's finished. We cannot change his force sensitivity, his force points. We can now roll his skills and things, and add experience and that as we wanted. So basically character generation is pretty much finished. I still want to add the ability to upload your own pictures. But that's mainly it. In the next week, there's not going to be any huge changes to it, that upload ability, but otherwise I'm going to spend most of my time on the database side of things and tidying things up. So tidying up the data in the database, maybe adding the equipment images to here. I've left sort of space down the side, so every item of equipment can have a picture. Some formatting issues, so these lines don't break. The bubbles are more sensibly placed. The weird characters, which are appearing in the text, don't. But yeah, I think that will be most of the changes I make over the next week. And that's me. We shall see where we go from here, but I think it's starting to look pretty darn good. Even if I do say so myself, and I'm the only one saying at the moment. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you later.